In recent years, Portland Stage Company has made a real commitment to telling more stories with roots right here in Maine. That is the case with its latest production. It's called Madeleines. It's written by Bess Welden, who is a playwright who has lived in Maine for many years, and she's with us here on 207. Great to have you here. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, as I understand it, this play was sort of inspired by when you were working with a different theater company in Maine, Snow Lion Repertory, and the director of it said, do a short piece about food. Is that right?
It is right, yeah. It was part of Snow Lion's Play Lab, they called it, playwriting group for local writers. And they gave us a prompt, everybody in the group, write a short play about food, and if you do it, we'll produce it as a collection of short plays.
What was the first idea that came to your mind when you started thinking, all right, I'm going to write about food?
Yeah, the first thing was this main character that's stayed with the play all the way along. A character who's dedicated her life to being a professional cookie baker and designing recipes that were really about honoring her family history in a way, honoring her children.
We need to explain the title. For folks who aren't familiar with it, a Madeleine is a rather distinctive looking, distinctively shaped, sort of a small sponge cake of a cookie, right?
Right. Even in the play, the character says, technically they're not cookies, they're French tea cakes, and they're in the shape of a shell. So sort of, you bake them in a scalloped shell pan, and they are light and fluffy and very tender and flavorful.
Now, see, if I were writing a play, it would probably be about chocolate chip cookies. If I were writing about something I adore, are you a huge fan of Madeleines?
No, actually, it came out of a creative inspiration. There's a family secret embedded in the recipe for these French tea cakes that becomes sort of a pivot point in the story of the play. And I wasn't a real fan of Madeleines until I started working on the play and then started to experiment making them and eating them.
What is the basic premise? How does at least the story begin?
The story begins with it's a story of Jewish women, a Jewish family, two middle-aged sisters, and their older mother, Rose, who's this baker. And we get a tiny glimpse of Rose at the end of her life. One of her daughters has come home to take care of her, and then she dies. And then there's a rift between the sisters in the aftermath of their mother's death.
And as you alluded to a moment ago, there's a secret that comes out of a family recipe.
That's right. And that's sort of what it hinges on, the sort of coming together and falling apart, and then the coming together again of these siblings is precipitated by this family secret that is attached to this recipe for Madeleines.
Writing this play and getting it produced has been a lengthy process. When did you actually start it? When did you get that prompt of write a play about food?
Yeah, in the fall of 2014. So it's been over 10 years of developing the play on and off in between other projects, of course, but yeah, over a decade from the very initial idea all the way now to this world premiere at Portland Stage.
Did you ever think that it would finally get out there and be produced for the public? At least certainly at a venue like Portland Stage.
It was always my hope and goal. So this is a real sense of, there's a huge sense of satisfaction getting the play to this point and to be able to do it here at the wonderful theater right here in my home community.
You've been at Portland Stage about 6 days a week for the last 3 weeks or so as the play has been coming together, rehearsal after rehearsal after rehearsal. You also act yourself. What is it like to see your baby about to get sent out into the world?
Yeah, it's thrilling. It feels a combination of sense of excitement and also relief, and just it's so rich to be able to collaborate with everybody who's on the team, to be able to bring it to life, the designers, the actors, the director, the entire staff at Portland Stage. It's such a rare opportunity that playwrights get to actually have their work resourced this way and in a really beautiful production.
Will there be Madeleines for sale out in the hallway?
I think that is still being worked on.
All right, stay tuned. Bess, thanks so much for coming in. We appreciate it. Again, Madeleines at Portland Stage Company. It runs through March 23rd. Information on tickets, showtimes, everything else in the 207 section of our app or website. And stick around. We're going to be back right after this.